As they know, I've already created a video. That's how to link your Firebase account with your Next.js application, or sorry, React application. It's still the same process in Next.js. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up to our Firebase console. I'm going to create that exactly. So I'm just going to take this out of here. And okay. Okay, so now we're going to get started. Now I already have it here, but we're going to start from scratch so that we can all be familiar with the process together. So what is going to be our project name? Our project name is YouTube Coin Finder. We're going to disable this because we don't really need any of that. This is just a dummy project. So while this is creating, we need to install Firebase to this application. We're going to go over to npm fire. Okay, no, we'll see it in our Google application. Don't worry. Let's just continue this. So it is finishing up right now. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so we're here now. First things first, let us project settings. Yes, let's go to project settings. Apps and projects. Okay. App nickname. Let's just say you Coin Finder. Let's just say Coin Finder. And register. All right, so npm install. Let's copy this. Let's go to here. Let's control. Let's stop this process. Let's clear it. Let's paste our code, and let us install Firebase. While that is installing, we're going to copy this. I have a video on how you can hide these key values. After today, I'm not really going to need any of this, but let's just continue that for now. So we're going to create a new file in our lib folder. Let's be creating that while this is installing. We're just going to close up this. We're going to go to our lib. We're going to create a folder there called authentication. Okay, so we're going to come to our lib folder and create a new folder here. Authentication. Is that the correct spelling? Okay, let's see what it is. All right, so in this authentication, we're going to create a new file called Firebase config.js. It says here, hit the name, write anything like that here. So we're going to copy this, copying it. I'm going to paste it here. This, we're going to just delete this one. So we don't need all this. So our Firebase has installed successfully. That is good news. We also want to add some extra functions in this. I'm just going to add that. You can get it from the code in the description. Get auth, get Firestore, get storage, because we're going to use all of that. I'm also going to export some constants like this. Get Firestore, get auth, get storage, all of that. So now that that is done, we want to create a user, right? Exactly. And to do that, we're going to make use of the API functionality in Next.js. It's an incredible functionality added. Before, when you're using React, you have to set that all up. It's a very tedious process before, but with Next.js, it makes everything way smoother and easier. So under API, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to name it auth, because this is going to handle all the authentication, signing up, and the rest. So we're going to create a file named signup.js. Okay, so now that we have this file, we're going to import some certain things. Like, I'm just going to, okay, let me just type it out for you guys. We're going to import, first and foremost, auth from okay, no, let me just copy this. It's going to be way much easier. Just paste it. So we're going to first import authentication, auth, from our Firebase configuration file here. We're going to import sign up data validations. Okay, we have to create this. So let me just do this for now. We're going to import create user with email and password from Firebase auth. We're going to import the database constants we have here in Firebase config file. We're going to also import collections and add docs from Firebase Firestore. So now when we're creating an API in Next.js, this is how we're doing it. We're going to start with an async function, because we're going to do a lot of awaits inside this function. Async function handler. And we're going to get two things, which is the request and the response from when we're going to use fetch to access this API. And after this, we also need to export this constant. Handler. All right, so now that that is done, the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to check what is the type of request that we're getting. Is it a post request or is it a get request? Now, when you're signing up, you're posting something, you're not getting anything. So first of all, we're going to say check the type of request. So we're going to check, we're going to say if, and we can get the request from this and say dot method. And if it's not equals to post, if it's anything other than post, we want to end this whole thing and return. We just want to end it. If the person is trying to get anything, end. If he's trying to delete or update, end. Only if he's here to post information for us, then we're going to accept. So after that, we're also going to get the information that is being given to us. Now we're going to extract the information. What are we going to extract? We're going to say constant. We're going to use array destructuring. The display name, that means the username, his email, and his password. We're going to put that. We're going to get it from the request body. Now that we get this information from the request body, we have to validate it, because even if you validate it on the client side, you also have to validate on the server side, just to make sure that whatever data you're sending to the database is correct data. So we're going to say validate the information. Good. So to do this, we're going to use a function, very easy function. We're going to create a function in our lib folder. This lib folder has almost everything in it. So in our lib folder here, we're going to go under validations, and we're going to create a new file. I'm going to name it ServerSide validations.js. Okay, now that we've got our server-side validations, what are we doing in this server-side validations? We're simply going to export constant sign up data validation, And in this sign up data validation, we're going to get the name, we're going to get the user email, we're going to get the user password. Okay, now that we've gotten the name, email, and password, we're going to first of all check if it's empty. Very, very important. We're going to say if there's nothing in name or there's nothing in the email or there's nothing in the password, return false. Now, checking the new field. Now, we're going to say if all later, I don't know if you remember our all later function from our input validations, which we used, all later, which we used when we were creating server-side validation. We're also going to use it when we're doing our server-side, sorry, the all later function that we use in our client-side validations, we're also going to use it in our server-side validation. Don't get mixed up like me. So all later in passing the name. So if it comes out as false, we're going to return false. Check the email. So we're also going to do that for the email. It's email. Import side, email. Return false. We're also going to check for the password. And we can say if check all capital letters, the check password. I'm going to check the password. If it comes out as false, please return false. Else, if everything goes well, we want to return true. All right, so this is just a simple validation for us. You can make it more complex as you would like if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, it's really just up to you. So now we're going to go back to our sign up here, and we're going to validate the information. Okay, now you spell information gotten. How are we going to say? We're going to say constant information because it's going to return true or false. So we're going to get that value. Information status equals to sign up data validation. So we're going to pass in first the display name, then the email, and then the password. So once we get this information, we're now going to say and the function if the inputer invalid. Okay, what we're going to say, we're saying if the information status is false, we're going to say where's the status. This is giving a response back to our application. We'll say 42.json. I'm going to start with a message body that says invalid inputs. Okay, so before we let's add the response here so that in case it passes through these checks successfully, there's add the response. I'll say 200.json. Message should be success. Okay, so let's test this to make sure that it is working, not that we're just typing and going, so it will seem. All right, so now we're going to go back to our sign up in our form. We'll go to our sign up in our form. We're going to create a new function here called handle fetch. that will be the function that is going to access the API for us. So we're going to say handle fetch, and we're going to say how we're going to access that API, this API route. It's very, very simple. With Next.js, we're going to say fetch. We're going to access the API by accessing by API underscore, sorry, not underscore. Let's see, API slash auth slash sign up, right? Then we're going to say the method, because we saw how we checked for the method there. It's going to be post. Method post. Let's say comma. Now I have made a silly mistake. After the command line, we need to put this in curly braces. So we'll say the method, and we're going to make it post. Then we're also going to attach it with a body. We're going to say JSON.stringify, and we're going to pass in the email. It has email inputs, our state. And we're going to do display name inputs. Then we're also going to say the password will be confirm password. Okay, so now we're going to also add headers. There's some headers. I'm going to say content type application .json. All right. So this is how you access the Next.js API routes. Very, very simple with the method and the body and the header. Now, once we do this, we also need to get our response. So we're going to get our response using then. We're going to say then response response.json. We're going to also say then the data we get. We're going to now also console log this data and see what we are getting. We're going to say console.log data. So now in our handle submit, when the user clicks all this and it passes through, then after we set the form valid to false, we want to pass this handle fetch function. So we're going to say handle fetch over here. Now, once the handle fetch function is called, we want to set the loading to be false after it has printed out this console data. So I want to set it here to be false. So let's go back and test this out. So let's refresh. Okay, we stop this application and PM right there. Let's go back to our sign. Okay. So now that the app has started running, we're going to refresh. We're going to come up with our sign up. We're going to comment out all these checks because we don't really want to be checking right now. We just want to focus on get information from the server side. So let's click on this and see. Let's refresh again. With console. Let's play this out. Let's click on this. And we're not getting anything here. Okay, this is the login, not the register. No wonder, no wonder. It's saying loading not defined. Why is it saying that? Loading. Loading is defined up here. Okay, is loading. Okay, that should be better. Okay. All right, so now let's just click on this. All right, you can see it's sending us a message saying invalid input. Where did these invalid inputs come from? It is coming from our API here, over here, because there is nothing in our fields. It is sending us the message as invalid inputs, which we have here, which we console log. Now let's put some things into the fields and see what it will tell us. Let's say full name, let's see email address, let's see password, you, let's click this, and you can see it's showing us successful. That means it has passed through this check and it has deemed our information to be good, and it's now showing us this message of success. So we can see our API route is working perfectly. Now let us start working into creating the user. So we talked about how to create, read, update, and delete in with Firebase. We're also going to talk about it here. So let us go back to our SignUp API. SignUp API. Okay, already here. Don't mind me. So now that we've checked this function, we've been able to see if the data is valid or not. Now we need to insert the user fields into the database. Okay, how can we do this? Now, first of all, we want to let's go back. We want to create user rather than even inputs in them. Just create the users first. So now we're going to build our authentication. Now set it up. Let's get started. We want to be using email and password. Email and password, and then save. Okay. So email and password is enabled and everything is set to go. Let's come to this user field. We don't have any users yet. That's because we've not created any users. Now, if we come back here, let us insert the user into the database. We also want to use the try and catch in case there's any error. So I want to use the try and catch error. So if there's any error, we want to return a status of 422.json with a message telling our user that account creation unsuccessful. So the user know that creation was not successful, it did not work. So try. Now, how do we insert user into the database? We can easily do that with constant. We're going to create a constant user. I'm going to say create user with email and password. We already have the function here. No, not that. You can see using Firebase is very, very easy and simple. We're going to pass in the auth. Then we're going to pass in the email and the password. And once this is done, we're just going to save this. We're going to come back to our application here, and we're going to submit this. And Jacoda, how are you? Let's make this correct. I'm going to register. And it's showing us success here. Don't know if it's actually updated. Let's refresh this. Wow, that is so fast. You can see the user has already been created as quickly as that. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why are we collecting the full name? If we're just using email address and password, why are we collecting the full name? Now, if you want to get more information about your user, it is good to also, if you want, that's up to you. Let's go to our Firestore database. We can get more information from the user, like their name or any other info you'd like to get. So after you've created them in the authentication, you can create a database called users where you just store extra information on the user. So let's do that. So let's start in test mode. Next. Enable. Okay, let's start a collection. Collection I just is users. What I do then? Fields. Let's just say name. Value 1. Alright, so this one we're going to delete this, but we don't need this. Then we're also going to go to authentication and we're going to delete this because we're going to also use it again. Alright, so we've deleted that. And here to is what? Okay, a collection is to have at least one document in it. I just realized that. Let's just see if I say like this. Okay, so let's just leave that empty for now. Now, how do we store extra information into these users? We just come here. Now we want to do that, I think after we've created the user. After we created the user. But before we do that, we need to also get the ref. So we're going to say constant users collection equals to collection db users. Now, I want to say as I'm coding this, if there's anything you don't really understand, please let me know in the comments. I'm very free to help you out with any of your code, okay? So we're going to say await. I can't really explain every single thing I'm doing, but I will break them down in little videos for you guys, like I have done with this CRUD, create, read, update, delete video I did. It's in the description. You can find the link over there so you can better understand how I explained and did all of this. Okay, so we're going to say await add doc users collection ref, and in this ref we're just going to say passing email and display name and save that. Okay, so we're going to come back here and we're going to just click on this. So you can see it loads and then when it's done, it's successful. Now we also need to display to the user that yes, it was successful. We're going to go and do that, but let us check. So we can see we've already included that information here and in our authentication to user has been created. So now we also want to show this successful information to the user as a feedback because it's important for them to know if their account was successful or not. We're going to do that very, very quickly. We'll go to our sign up form. We're going to create a new state called success. Okay, so we want to also be displaying success. When the user clicks on register and his account has been created, we want him to know that yes, it was successful. So we're going to create a success state. Success state, the constant success, set success, but the use state. At first it's going to be false because obviously when the user starts out, the success state is false. All right, so now we're going to go into our submission and the string for successful and constant data. All right, here we're going to set we're going to set success to true. And then what happens when a user clicks success and it was confirmed? We need to show an alert. So let's copy this from Daisy UI. Let's go down. We have here form validity. So come here and say success. and we're going to paste that here. And we say your account was created successfully.